माइक पे क्लिक करो और माइक के लिए
माइक का ये तो म्यूट है।
हाँ बोलो।
Are you getting my voice? Anyone can write yes. Okay, thanks.
मैं સાંભળું છોકરી કે છોકરો સ્વપ્નિલ નામી રાખન જેન્ડર ડિફરન્સિએશન માં સ્વપ્નિલ સ્વપ્નિલ
So, shall we start? Okay. I believe that you are hearing my voice. Good morning. Why good morning? Some of you might be sleeping and you just woke up for this class. You can see it on your screen. The class is regarding investigations into an anesthetic or an operative death. Frankly speaking, this is a PG topic, but at least undergraduates should have some idea as to what happens when a patient dies during a procedure. It can be a minor procedure, it can be a major procedure. This presentation basically will just give you a glimpse as to where there can be a fault and what do we have available to us to find out that fault. Other thing is, those who wish, they can prepare a checklist. There are lots of causes given here, which if you put it in a checklist and somebody has a mishap, you can tick it out whether that death falls into any one of those points present in the checklist. Now, to start with, I don't know how many of you believe it or not, no procedure on a human being is without any risk to the life. Around 16, 17 years back, we had a postmortem where a female who was having high grade fever was sent to a private lab to get a blood sample withdrawn and done an investigation. In that private lab, when the phlebotomist was taking the blood, the patient collapsed and died. The relatives alleged that there was a fault on the part of the person who was drawing the blood, and so they filed a case, and the case came for postmortem examination. What came into it, I'll tell you at the last, but the thing is, even a small procedure where you draw a blood from a patient's life, from a patient's body, is not without a risk. Now, what we have observed over these many years, whenever a patient dies during any procedure, people jump to a conclusion that there might be a mistake on the part of surgeon or the anesthetist. Now, before coming to whose fault is it or whether there was any fault or not, when any such death is being investigated, there are some questions which also need to be answered. Why? Because there may not be any fault in the procedure, but there can be a fault in something else as to why and where the procedure was done. So before commenting on why the patient died, one should also try to answer these questions. First one is whether the procedure that was undertaken was necessary or not. उस प्रोसीजर की जरूरत भी थी या जबरदस्ती उसको प्रोसीजर में लिया गया था. अगर वो जरूरी था तो क्या डॉक्टर ने सही और कंप्लीट कंसेंट ली थी या नहीं ली थी? Third thing, one has to always be clear whether it was an elective or an emergency procedure, because outcomes are different in both the settings. Fourth one is whether an appropriate history was taken and that was recorded in the file. Many a times it happens that the history is not properly given and whatever is given is not put in the patient's file. So when a later mishap occurs, there is no evidence that you did whatever there was right thing to be done. Lastly, the person who was doing the surgery or the person who gave anesthesia was a qualified or a competent person or not. So there need to be an answer for all those things because they affect the outcome of the investigation. Now suppose the answers to all the previous 5 questions are in affirmation, means there was no issue with regards to all those 5 questions. Everything was correct, the thing was done which was to be done. So then the focus should shift on the procedure itself. Always remember one thing, any procedure has got a risk and the risk is bare minimum if the appropriate anesthetic agent is competently administered, the person doing the surgery has done it skillfully, and third and one most important thing is the patient himself was in a fit physical condition to withstand the surgery. So the risk can be on either of these 3 sides. सही एनेस्थेटिक एजेंट सही तरीके से यूज नहीं किया, सर्जरी ढंग से नहीं की, या सब कुछ सही था लेकिन पेशेंट ही इतना फिट नहीं था कि वो सर्जरी को बेयर। अब हम कंक्लूजन पे कैसे पहुंचेंगे कि किसी भी प्रोसीजर में अगर डेथ हुई है तो डेथ का कारण क्या है? अगर किसी प्रोसीजर में इमीडिएट डेथ होती है, यूजुअली इट हैज बीन फाउंड दैट the reason is clear to the operating surgeon or the anesthetist. Problem कहाँ आती है? When there are perioperative deaths, before taking patient to surgery, during the surgery, or just after the surgery. And worldwide over, it is accepted that it is really not easy to find out the real cause of death. In any case, there can be an involvement of the surgeon and the anesthetist. ऐसा नहीं है कि उनका कभी involvement हो ही नहीं सकता है. Okay? It depends what kind of involvement they had in the fatal outcome. It can be an error on either of the side. It's not always that surgeon is at fault or the anesthetist only is at the fault. Problem is, we medical practitioners believe that we don't make any mistake, and whenever there is any mishap occurs, we always tend to blame somebody else. That is one thing which every doctor should avoid. Now coming to the classification of intraoperative deaths. Now this is a classification which has been put to help the investigation. कभी भी कोई ऐसी डेथ आपके पास आती है जो कि किसी प्रोसीजर के बीच में हुई है, ठीक है, तो ये कुछ सवाल अगर हम उस डेथ को लेकर पूछेंगे तो उसके कंक्लूजन में पहुंचने में हमें आसानी। पहली चीज, whether it was an undiagnosed operative condition and necessary surgery therefore was not performed. ऑपरेशन से पहले ही नहीं पता था कि उसको सच में क्या कंडीशन है. It is possible. Second instance can be that operative condition was not diagnosed sufficiently early for appropriate surgery to prevent death. Diagnosis ही इतना लेट हुआ कि सही सर्जरी नहीं हो सकती थी, जिसकी वजह से पेशेंट की डेथ हो. Third condition can be that operative condition was incorrectly diagnosed. पेशेंट को प्रोसीजर में लेने से पहले जो डायग्नोसिस किया था वो सही नहीं था. Therefore, surgery was different from what was anticipated. All these are real life situations. Fourth instance can be there was a correct diagnosis of operative condition. सब कुछ सही किया था, लेकिन गलती कहाँ हुई? There was a incomplete pre-op workup. It can occur in an emergency and it can even occur in an elective condition. Third thing can be pre-operative workup was done perfectly, but patient की जो condition थी वो उसके अंदर diagnose नहीं हो सकती. These are some things which are really possible. There can be an instance where operative condition was incorrectly diagnosed. Surgery was different from that anticipated, and there was no provision made for necessary surgery. It happens many a times, and we have had cases where doctors, both surgeon or anesthetist, they are not fairly equipped for a different surgery to be undertaken inside the operation theatre. एक पर्टिकुलर सर्जरी के लिए ही फैसिलिटी बना रखी है, बीच में कुछ नई चीज दिखी तो उसके लिए नेसेसरी सेटअप ही नहीं. So that can also end up in the death of the patient. Another instance can be correct diagnosis, but the death occurred from too extensive natural disease. सब कुछ सही था और पेशेंट की अपनी डिजीज कंडीशन इतनी खराब थी कि उसकी डेथ हो सकती. Now, death can also be because of an overdose of an anesthetic, either independently or using medication like muscle relaxants. If I have time, I will tell you at the last, there is a real case where something else was administered to the patient and the patient died. Third one is an untoward reaction to an anesthetic or a medication, including an incompatible blood transfusion. This is also a reality. Patient being taken into surgery and patient dying because the patient was given wrong blood within the operation. So whenever you get a case where a patient dies during an operative procedure, ask these 7, 8 or 9 questions. This will help you to narrow down your focus as to what could be the real cause of death. Please never jump to a conclusion that any intraoperative death is because of fault of the surgeon or the anesthetist only. Now coming to the causes of death. Now why or what are the reasons where a person can die during any operative procedure? This is a long list. I always advise people to use this list as a checklist. That means you put a tick box in front of each cause and try to rule out each cause when you get such a case. So we'll see the whole list as to what can be the reasons a person can die during an operative procedure. We start with complications of anesthesia. The heading is complications of anesthesia. This means medical literature recognizes them as an untoward incident. Simple terms में मेडिकल वर्ल्ड ये मानता है कि एनेस्थीसिया जब किसी को दिया जाता है तो इतनी चीजें पेशेंट के साथ हो सकती हैं. इसका मतलब ये है कि इनमें से अगर किसी कारण से पेशेंट की डेथ होती है तो इसके लिए किसी को गलत नहीं माना जाना चाहिए. That is the first and foremost thing one should remember. Now to start with, death can occur because of a respiratory failure. This respiratory failure can occur because of an airway obstruction. Airway obstruction can be because of a sudden laryngeal spasm. You can never find that autopsy. Impacted foreign body, that is a swab or a denture which goes inside the passage. Now this, if removed, you can never find that autopsy. Third one is intubation related problems. If there was something wrong in doing the intubation, postmortem will not find out such a event. Airway obstruction can also occur because of a sudden bronchial spasm. Sudden bronchial spasm can occur because of a pre-existing asthma. It can be because of a drug's hypersensitivity, or it can be because of fluid overload. Now this bronchial spasm resulting into death of a person because of respiratory failure can never be found at autopsy. Next reason of respiratory failure can be pneumothorax. Now this pneumothorax can occur because of giving an excessive pressure to the airway. If there is a tension pneumothorax, only that type of pneumothorax can be diagnosed at postmortem examination. Otherwise, you cannot diagnose a pneumothorax at postmortem examination. Second one is pneumothorax can also occur if the lungs are very weak and they give up with a normal pressure during the ventilation. A person can die because of aspiration of gastric contents. This is one thing which you can find out at postmortem examination. But this will be helpful before the body gets decomposed. Because once decomposition starts, the gastric contents can regurgitate back into the respiratory tract. Respiratory failure can also occur because of a respiratory depression. This can be because of use of anesthetic agents where there is depression of the respiratory center, or it can be because of muscular weakness by using of neuromuscular blockers. Both of them are known complications of the use of anesthetic agents and neuromuscular blocking agents. Only if the blood levels of these two drugs are found to be excessively high at postmortem, they can be told to be the cause of death. Otherwise, finding these anesthetic agents and the neuromuscular blockers in the blood within normal levels doesn't mean that they are the cause of death of such a patient. A patient can die of a respiratory failure because of an equipment failure. It can happen. The thing is, one has to be sure to keep a watch on the equipment, and as soon as we find that there is some failure, we should try to correct it out. Second reason where a person can die because of a complication of anesthesia is because of cardiovascular failure. This can result because of hypovolemia. This hypovolemia can be because of an inadequately corrected pre-op hypovolemia. A common cause of death in emergency conditions, where a person was taken for operation to save his life and he has already bled so much that there was no time to replenish the blood. Second is there can be an inadequate volume replacement for an intraoperative fluid loss. Another reason for a cardiovascular failure from hypovolemia can be because of excessive amount of hemorrhage resulting in clotting factor deficiency. Cardiovascular failure can also occur because of pulmonary edema because of over enthusiastic fluid replacement. आपने बहुत ज़्यादा पेशेंट को fluid replace कर दिया. Person can die because of a cardiac arrhythmia during an operative procedure. This is a very common condition that occurs during an operative procedure, and all factors that can cause an arrhythmia cannot be diagnosed pre-operatively. Cause of arrhythmia can be a pre-existing disease. It can be because of an abnormal reaction to drugs. It can be because of an unskillful anesthesia. It can be because of surgical stimulation, or it can be a combination of all of the above. Be clear, it is not easy to find out at postmortem that what triggered cardiac arrhythmia. Cardiovascular failure can also occur because of a diminished myocardial contractility. There are a lot of factors given where the heart's pumping activity is reduced. It can be because of a metabolic disorder, electrolyte disturbance, hypoxia, hypothermia, use of some drugs, or patient entering into a frank myocardial ischemia. Out of all these, if excessive level of drugs are found at postmortem, they can be attributed to the cause of death. If there is evidence of myocardial ischemia, then it can be attributed as a cause of death. Otherwise, in a dead body, finding out the first four is really difficult. Third cause of death or third reason can be because of a complication of regional anesthesia. Regional anesthesia can end up with a systemic toxicity either because of an overdose or because of an inadvertent intravenous injection, something which was to be given which was to be given locally, the needle entered into the venous circulation. It can also occur because of a complication of the technique. It can be either from an autonomic blockade or by chance or by mistake in a brachial block, it ended up with a pneumothorax. These are known complications of giving a local anesthesia. This doesn't mean that it is the negligence of the anesthetist in this case. Other complications can be formation of of malignant hyperthermia. It can be because of air embolism in procedures which are taken in sitting position, electrocution because of a defective equipment, and very rare where a fire or an explosion occurs in the operation theatre. These were the reasons in earlier days. Nowadays, you don't hear that a fire or an explosion has occurred in a operation theatre. Another reason can be failure to maintain the life support systems. This is where, because I'm not sure whether medical ethics and law has been taken. There is something called as product liability, where whatever instrument you use, it has to be in a perfect working condition. Now, whether the instrument was in perfect working condition or not, it depends upon the doctor as well as the manufacturer. There can be a defective equipment considered necessary for life support. You didn't buy the proper equipment. Lastly, there can be an error in the surgical technique. Here, please focus on the word that is error. Errors are recognized in medical literature. Every doctor or every medical practitioner, being a human being, is liable to make errors. Making an error doesn't mean that the person is negligent. Now, the cause of death can be because of a pre-existing disease. It can be because of complexity of the procedure. It can result from inattention to details of the procedure. It can be because of error of technique, without predisposing condition, and without appropriate remedial intervention. So these are some reasons why a person can die during a operative procedure. Other complications of surgery can be sepsis, cardiac arrest, fluid electrolyte imbalance, development of acute renal failure, or development of an acute pulmonary edema. So these are some known reasons why a patient can have an unfortunate death during a procedure. If we make a list of all of these things and investigate to rule out each one of them, we can find out what could be the reason the person might have died. Apart from the known complications, there are many others which are not really studied and they can be put into a miscellaneous reasons. So till now, what we saw was what are the various conditions where a person can die during a procedure. Second, what can be the various reasons where a person can die during an operative procedure. Now suppose there is an instance where a death has occurred in an operation theatre. Then what to do? Remember one thing, it depends largely on why the patient was taken into an OT, whether proper consent was taken or not, whether it was a high risk surgery, which meant that there are chances the patient can have death. Now, where in all the procedures where there is a high likelihood of death, usually no issue arises after death of such a patient in an operation theatre. The relatives are also aware of such a mishap that it can occur and they accept the event as it is. Problem occurs when the chance of death was never accepted or the relatives were not aware sufficiently that such a procedure can result in death. It happens many times because medical practitioners tend to talk loosely to patients saying that कि ये procedure में कुछ नहीं होता है, ये simple procedure है, आप 2 मिनट में आप घंटे 2 घंटे में बाहर आ जाओगे और इसमें कोई रिस्क नहीं है. जब हम ऐसा किसी को बोलते हैं और उसके बाद किसी प्रोसीजर में कोई अनटूवर्ड इंसिडेंट हो जाता है, तब ये इश्यू क्रिएट होता है कि ये डेथ की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसकी, व्हाट द लॉ सेज. It is not mandatory to inform all deaths during in or association with a diagnostic, therapeutic, surgical and anesthetic procedures to police. ऐसा कहीं नहीं लिखा है कि ऑपरेशन थिएटर की हर डेथ को आपको पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म करना. इट अगेन डिपेंड्स कि पेशेंट का रिस्क कितना था उस प्रोसीजर के. अगर प्रोसीजर के लिए रिस्क काफी था तो रिलेटिव्स भी इस बात पे कभी क्वेश्चन नहीं करेंगे. बट अगर रिस्क नहीं था, उसके बाद भी अगर पेशेंट की डेथ होती है, तो ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि डॉक्टर्स को या हॉस्पिटल को पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म करना है. लेकिन हर उस केस में उन्हें बाहर जाके पेशेंट के रिलेटिव्स को बताना चाहिए कि ड्यूरिंग प्रोसीजर द पेशेंट हैज डाइड. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, उनको ये भी बोलना चाहिए कि अगर आपको लगता है कि इसमें कुछ गलत हुआ है तो आपके पास पूरा राइट है, आप पुलिस में जाके कंप्लेन करके इसका पोस्टमार्टम करा सकते हैं. हमें नहीं लगता है कि इसमें कोई गलती है. दिस वन वाज अनएक्सपेक्टेड बट इट कैन बी एक्सप्लेन्ड बिकॉज ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कंडीशंस. स्टिल अगर रिलेटिव्स को लगता है कि उनको कोई ऑटोप्सी करानी है तो वो जाकर पुलिस में इन्फॉर्म कर सकते हैं. अगर रिलेटिव्स पुलिस में जाके इन्फॉर्म करते हैं तो हर उस केस का ऑटोप्सी होगा जिसमें कोई मिसहैप है या नहीं, या कोई नेग्लिजेंस है कि नहीं, वो चीज ढूंढने की कोशिश की जाएगी. If the operating surgeon and anesthetist during a procedure are aware why the patient has died, they should issue the form 4 of MCCD. अगर मरने का कारण पता है तो आपको जरूर वो MCCD का फॉर्म 4 फिल करके देना चाहिए. इंस्पाइट की पेशेंट के रिलेटिव्स पुलिस में जाके इसकी ऑटोप्सी करने के लिए. अब बॉडी पहुंच गई पोस्टमार्टम के अंदर, तो पोस्टमार्टम करते समय क्या ध्यान रखना चाहिए? ठीक है, पहली चीज प्रिजम्पशंस पे नहीं चलना चाहिए. हर डेथ किसी की गलती से हुई है ये मानकर तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं चलना चाहिए. ठीक है, बेस्ट इज टू लुक फॉर एविडेंसेस एज टू व्हाट इज द कॉज ऑफ डेथ, then try to find out whether it was a known complication, it was an error, or it is a frank mistake on somebody's part. But don't go into an autopsy believing कि इसमें किसी की गलती ही. I told you earlier, use a checklist to rule out the listed causes of death during the procedure. वो सारे known causes जो मैंने पहले बताए, अगर वो पेपर पे हैं तो आप एक एक करके उसको रूल आउट कर सकते हो कि क्या तो ये इसमें इन्वॉल्व है या. It's always better to have a surgeon and anesthetist in the autopsy team. अपने इंस्टीट्यूट के अंदर जब भी कोई डेथ ऐसी हुई है, हमारे हॉस्पिटल में हुई है या बाहर से लेकर आए हैं, फोरेंसिक मेडिसिन की एक डॉक्टर के साथ हमेशा एक सर्जन या गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, डिपेंडिंग की कहाँ का केस है, वो और एक एनेस्थेटिस्ट तीनों मिलकर ऑटोप्सी करते हैं. उसका एक सिंपल सा रीजन है, फोरेंसिक मेडिसिन स्पेशलिस्ट को या किसी और भी स्पेशलिस्ट को हर सर्जरी की जानकारी नहीं होती है और एनेस्थीसिया की जानकारी नहीं होती है. ठीक है, सो दीज पीपल हु विल बी इन द टीम, दे विल हेल्प यू टू टेल कि व्हाट कैन बी द एरर्स और व्हाट इज अ नॉर्मल थिंग ड्यूरिंग सच ए प्रोसीजर. बिफोर स्टार्टिंग द पोस्टमार्टम, आस्क द पुलिस और द आईओ टू ब्रिंग ऑल केस पेपर्स. पेशेंट जहां से भी आया है उसकी इंडोर फाइल, पेशेंट के आने से लेकर पेशेंट की डेथ तक के सारे नोट्स आपके पास अवेलेबल होने चाहिए. आपको पहले से पढ़ना है कि अल्टीमेटली पेशेंट को था क्या, उसे क्यों ओटी में लिया और ओटी में क्या हुआ. इट हैज बीन आवर एक्सपीरियंस, बाहर से जब भी कोई ऐसी डेथ होती है और बॉडी लेकर आते हैं पीएम के लिए, तो वहाँ हॉस्पिटल का सर्जन है वो केस पेपर्स देने के लिए मना करता है. ठीक है, बाय लॉ any hospital or a doctor cannot refuse to give the indoor papers or the OT records. अगर पुलिस आपके पास किसी भी पेशेंट के लिए पेशेंट रिकॉर्ड्स के लिए आती है तो उसका जेरोक्स करके आपको हमेशा पुलिस को देना है. सेक्शन 91 सीआरपीसी में तो ये लिखा हुआ है, सिर्फ मन से किसी ने नहीं कहा. पोस्टमार्टम करते समय always try to see what were the given circumstances in which the procedure was undertaken. अभी तक मेडिकल लॉ एथिक्स का चैप्टर नहीं हुआ है, बट एक सिंपल सी चीज हर कोई रिकॉग्नाइज करता है कि एक प्रोसीजर अगर विलेज में किया जाए, पीएचसी पे किया जाए, सीएचसी पे किया जाए और एक टर्शरी केयर सेंटर पे किया जाए, तो तीनों जगह लेवल ऑफ केयर अलग अलग होगा. सो डोंट इक्वेट द प्रोसीजर एट ऑल द थ्री प्लेसेस. वो क्यों एक पीएचसी पे हुआ, वो क्यों एक सीएचसी पे हुआ और वो क्यों एक टर्शरी केयर सेंटर पे हुआ, और वहां पर जो लिमिटेड फैसिलिटी थी उसमें डॉक्टर ने या एनेस्थेटिस्ट सर्जन ने या एनेस्थेटिस्ट ने जो बेस्ट अवेलेबल था अगर वो किया है तो इसमें कोई माल प्रैक्टिस नहीं. टेक द हिस्ट्री, डिटेल्स अबाउट द केस, every information कि why the person ended up with a surgery and associated diseases. Get information about the use of pre-anesthetic agents, anesthetic agents or any other drugs. Try to find about the consultation about the resuscitative measures employed and the equipment used in the procedure. What was the type of anesthesia done given and the surgical intervention was done. This will help you to correlate with the findings in the body. Review the hospital chart, especially the pre-op workup of the patient, कि उसको बराबर pre-op examine किया गया था या नहीं किया. पोस्टमार्टम करते समय छोटी से छोटी चीज को भी ध्यान से नोट करना चाहिए. हर कौन सी चीज बाद में इंपॉर्टेंट होगी वो पहले प्रिज्यूम कर पाना मुश्किल. Have a careful description including measurements, photographs in situ or regarding appearance of the procedures or those taken after the dissections. If you can find out edema or hemorrhages over major organs like liver, heart, brain, they could be because of side effect of an anesthetic drug. Now, it can be a side effect because of a normal dose or it can be because of an overdose. Whether it is a normal dose or an overdose, it will come out after the analysis. And then look at the autopsy for the causes of death as we have listed earlier. उतने सब में से कोई cause है या नहीं वो पोस्टमार्टम में चेक करना चाहिए. I have already told you earlier, laryngeal spasm है, vagal inhibition of heart है, sudden coronary artery spasm है, cardiac arrhythmia है, हाइपोवोलीमिया है. ये ऐसे कुछ कॉमन कॉजेज हैं जो पोस्टमार्टम पे डायग्नोज नहीं हो सकते. ऐसी हर ऑटोप्सी में कुछ स्पेसिमेंस कलेक्ट करने चाहिए. इंपॉर्टेंट वंस कौन से हैं? ब्लड एंड रूटीन विसरा फॉर टॉक्सिकोलॉजिकल एग्जामिनेशन ऑफ एनेस्थेटिक एजेंट्स और ड्रग्स. ब्लड कल्चर कैन बी डन टू रूल आउट इन्फेक्शन. You can do a regrouping to find out whether correct blood was given to the. You can take the swabs from the exudates or drainage for culture. Whatever specimens you take, ideally or theoretically, they have to be preserved at 4 degrees centigrade. Practically, यहाँ कोई भी नहीं करता है. The other specimens that can be collected, depending upon how anesthesia was given, one is lungs ligated at their hila when analysis of alveolar air is required. Now, this is something which is present in books, which comes from Western literature, and where this examination is done immediately after taking out the lung and directly doing the gas analysis. In India, it is a useless thing because if you take the whole lung, ligate it, do perfectly what is expected, it will reach the FSL in 1 or 2 months. तब तक तो वो lung decompose होके खत्म हो चुका. Other solutions that you can take is residual solutions, ampules, sample of anesthetic agents used where possible. ये कब होगा? आपको पुलिस को बोलना है कि जिस ओटी में डेथ हुई है वहां पर जितने भी यूज्ड ड्रग वायल्स हैं वो सब आप लेकर के FSL के अंदर एनालिसिस के लिए. Lastly, you can take the various samples from all the organs for histopathological examination. This will help you rule out a pre-existing extensive disease. Lastly, coming to opinion. कॉज ऑफ डेथ अगर मिल गया है तो ओपिनियन देने में कभी तकलीफ नहीं होगी, इट विल बी वेरी इजी, बट फाइंडिंग ए कॉज ऑफ डेथ इज द रियल डिफिकल्ट प्रॉब्लम. Another thing is usually samples collected at autopsy do not detect the anesthetic agents. एक तो रीजन ये है कि वो डेथ के बाद काफी जल्दी खत्म हो जाते हैं बॉडी के अंदर से. दूसरी बात, हमारी लैब भी इतनी टेक्निकली साउंड होनी चाहिए कि वो हर ड्रग को एनालाइज कर सके. थर्ड थिंग इज वेयर एग्जामिनेशन रिवील्स नो फाइंडिंग्स. बॉडी में कुछ भी ऐसा ग्रॉस आई को नहीं मिला. केमिकल एनालिसिस, हिस्टोपैथोलॉजी, किसी भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में कोई स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट नहीं मिला जिससे ये कह सके कि इसकी डेथ इस वजह से हुई है. तो इट इज ऑलवेज बेटर दैट यू डोंट गिव एनी ओपिनियन. Mostly till date in our experience we have been able to find out the cause of death. In most of the cases, it was not a negligence. In few cases, there was no mistake in the operative procedure, but pre-op workup was not done or necessary precautions which need to be taken during the procedure were not kept ready. So there was no fault during the procedure, but the hospital was not prepared for any complications, so they could not take care of the complications. So these are the things which can also affect what could be the real cause of death and whether that cause of death was a real mistake on somebody's part or. Now just to end up, I have put up 3 examples. These are the cases which were done by us only. First one is, it's a case of an old lady who had a fall and she ended up with multiple fractures. Because of age, she was not in a condition to get operated for all of them. First fracture, the close reduction was done and then she was sent home immobilized for 21 days. She was found to be fit for operation, so then she was called after 21 days. During manipulation of the lower limb at the operation, she suffered a sudden cardiac arrest and she died. Here the relatives, they allege that there was a mistake on the part of the doctor. In this case, when autopsy was done, there was extensive pulmonary thromboembolism. Now, the cause of death could be found at the postmortem examination. Next thing was to find out whether this pulmonary thromboembolism is a known complication or something that is not expected. It is a known complication. So if something which is a known complication, then you can't say that it is because of mistake of the surgeon. But there is one more thing to it. The other thing is, when a patient is immobilized, old aged patient having fracture in lower limb, literature clearly says that these patients are at a risk of deep vein thrombosis and they should be given adequate medicines so that they don't develop deep vein thrombosis. Now, if this female was not given any such drug for past 21 or say 4 weeks, that is something which is against the surgeon. So what happened during the operation was not an unknown complication, but precaution was taken or not to prevent that complication would decide whether the person was negligent or not. This is second example. It's around 17, 18 years old. In 2002 or 3, we had a case of around 55-year-old male who was going on a scooter and he met with an accident. He had a lower end radius fracture. After the accident, the relatives took him to an orthopedic surgeon who said that we will do an operative fixation. After a few hours, the patient was taken into OT and in the OT, the patient died. In this postmortem, we found nothing except for narrowing of the coronaries and their atherosclerosis. So based on whatever we could find, the cause of death was only a sudden cardiac arrest. Now, even if an extensive pre-op checkup would have been done, this narrowing of the coronaries and the atherosclerosis would have been missed, and the patient was always at a risk of a sudden coronary spasm during an intra-op procedure. So in this case, the patient might have had that coronary spasm, which we can't find at postmortem examination. Otherwise, there was nothing at postmortem which would say that there was a mistake on the part of the surgeon. Last one. A very young lady taken for laparoscopic tubal ligation. As soon as there was an incision put below the umbilicus, she went into arrest. Now, believing that it was a vasovagal shock, the patient was resuscitated, and this one continued for 3 hours, and she died after 3 hours. When postmortem was done, it was found that there was an injury to the mesenteric vessels, and the patient had died because of hemorrhagic shock. Now, I'm not going into the details as to whether there was a negligence here or not, but the thing is to be remembered that whenever such a mishap occurs, the reason which we assume is responsible for the condition, there can be something else also. So we should not get panicked and try to look at the different reasons from which a person can end up in a unfortunate condition. This was in short as to what should be done whenever a patient dies during a procedure. I told you earlier also, it's basically a PG topic. Sometimes a short note can be asked from this topic. I'll share the PDF of this whole presentation with you. Those who are interested, they can make a checklist of all the causes, and in future, if at any time anyone lands up in trouble, they can use the checklist to rule out what could be the cause of death. Okay. Thank you. If you have any question, you can post it right now, or you can ask me on my WhatsApp number also. Well, this was the first time I have taken such a class. I don't know, I'm not sure whether you really understood something or not.